What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. I'm your host, Austin Facer. I believe this episode that you're listening to right now, being recorded on the 19th of January, the year 2025, might be episode 75 of SLC Puck. We're trucking along. How many episodes are we going to do of SLC Puck? I don't think they've identified that number yet. I don't think that scientists have been able to count that high yet in the numerical order. So it'll be a lot of fun to push this further and further as we go. Having a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in wherever you find me. You might be listening to this on YouTube. If you are, please like, comment, subscribe. Or maybe you're on Apple or Spotify. I'm also uploading a lot more stuff on social media lately. So I'm on Instagram, X. Fine, I give in, Elon Musk. You win. It's X. TikTok, welcome back. All that good stuff. The handle is SLC Puck. Not hard to find. Somehow I scored that handle across the board, so that was pretty cool. By the way, look at this cool jersey I got. Look at that. You can see the customization of this jersey. I got it done in the Utah Hockey Club team store. Whole video on that on my TikTok and Instagram as well, so check that out. Oh, and one more plug. One more shameless plug before we get going into the show. My shop, slcpuck.shop. Lots of cool merch there. This hoodie's really cool. I like that. Again, a cute girl ordered it recently. That was a little shocking, but she loved it. I gave one of these to Tyson Nash as well. He thought it was dope, so that was pretty cool. The beanie's sick. I got one right here. These turned out really nice. I would say probably I would say the marquee item on the shop is probably the upside down hat. It's only $24. I should really be charging you guys more for this stuff, and maybe I will be soon. So get in now while you can. A lot of great stuff at slcpuck.shop, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Also, you might be watching this on KSL.com, and if you are, thank you. Big support there, and we really appreciate our good friends at KSL.com for helping us out with that. So a lot of fun to be involved with all of that. But you know what really was a lot of fun? The game last night over against the St. Louis Blues. That was a Nash cast, which featured Tyson Nash, Kelly Chase, all-star lineup here. Let me just set the stage for the Nash cast, which was the alternate broadcast on SEG Media, Utah Hockey Club Plus, all that good stuff, right? All-star cast. Let me just go through the lineup on the show. Tyson Nash, Kelly Chase, Chris Pronger, Jamie McClellan, Mark Grace, Greg Ostertag, and a guy named Austin Facer. That was a ton of fun to be a part of it. We had two Nash casts over the last week. We did Thursday's Rangers game as well, in addition to last night's game against the Blues. So we went 1-1 on the shows. The Rangers game was lost, and the Blues game was won by the Utah Hockey Club. And the Blues game was really, really, really exciting. I'm going to talk more about the Nash cast in just a second to kind of pimp that out for you guys a little bit. And the recording is still available on SEG Media, so you can go back and check that out if you missed it live. And holy mother of all things holy, was that thing out of control. Mark Grace told a story that was just like the most deranged, like out of pocket things I've ever heard in my life. And somehow I got a front row seat to that. And I had the easiest job in the world. I just got to listen to these stories and laugh my ass off, which was not hard to do at all. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about it in just a second, but holy crap, I should say, was that story funny. It was an absolute riot. But what was really a lot of fun as well, and maybe you didn't see the Nash cast, maybe you caught the regular broadcast or just caught the score of last night's game today. Again, recording this on Sunday. You might be listening to this on Monday or whatever. That's kind of how it goes. But anyway, Saturday's game was an absolute light show, I should say, by the Utah Hockey Club. It was a huge win for this team. They haven't had a big win like this in almost a whole month. They've kind of been struggling a lot and been really snake bitten by injuries in particular. They played the last 4 games or so without Dylan Guenther. And then at morning skate, ahead of the game on Saturday, they announced that Mikhail Sergachev, who has been their workhorse this season, he's been leading the team in minutes on ice, He's been stalwart on the defensive end. He's again, I gave the midseason awards out recently and gave him the dubious honor of SLC Puck's midseason MVP award. But again, he's been put through a lot. And Coach Andre Turney said this at Morning Skate. He's like, yeah, we're going to go without Sergei. He's day to day. He's just been overloaded a little bit. And it's kind of easy to see why. If you've been watching Utah Hockey Club games, you've been seeing a lot of Mikhail Sergachev. He usually plays about 25 minutes a game or so, which is a lot for one guy to play in a 60-minute game. He plays well over a third of the game just himself on the ice. So considering they dress 20 other guys, for these games, like that, he takes up a significant chunk of ice time. He's been asked to do a lot, and it's not entirely surprising to me that like he would need a little bit of a break. Like 82 game season to do that is kind of nuts. Had he been able to play all 82 games at that pace, I think he would probably go down in the annals of hockey history, certainly Utah hockey history, as like maybe one of the greatest individual seasons ever. Not that he's not having a great season, but that would have been a tremendous feat, but probably just too much to ask. So he's out day to day. I didn't hear what the official injury designation is. Andre Turney just called it banged up. He's just banged up. And I that's probably a good word for it, right? But I was really concerned going into the game on Saturday. I was like, holy cow, this is a big one for Utah Hockey Club. And they know it too. They knew it. They going into the game, a lot of the players and Andre Turney were like, okay, this might be as close to a playoff game that we've had so far this season. Which I guess maybe sounds a little bit silly on the surface, right? Like these are two 500 teams. They're not in the playoff picture right now. We're still talking here in January, but when you look at the standings, and we'll hop over to that right now. This is the NHL standings right now. And again, just to go over this, a refresher, the way the playoffs work, 2 conferences, 2 divisions in each conference, top 3 teams in each division go, and then 2 wildcard teams to fill out the rest of each conference's bids into the playoffs. And looking here right now, Utah's in the Central Division. The top 3 teams in that division, Winnipeg Jets, they're having an unreal year. Their goaltender, Connor Hellebuyck, might be the league's MVP this season. Minnesota Wild are behind them, and that gap is starting to grow quite a bit. The point standings right now, Winnipeg has 65. That's a pretty comfortable lead on second place, Minnesota with 58. The Dallas Stars right behind them in third in the Central with 57. And then we got to jump down to the wild card. The Avalanche are nipping at the heels of the Stars. They have 57 points as well. And then there's another gap here. The team in the last wild card spot right now is the Calgary. Calgary is kind of a weird word to say. Think about it. Do you say the G? Calgary. I think it's Calgary. We'll say Calgary. And you guys know me. I'm not great at pronouncing words. In fact, my producer at Nashcast is like, hey, you're doing great, Austin. I know you're working your buns off. The pronunciation could use some improvement. So here's the pronunciation guide for the NHL, which has been a great resource. I've been flipping through it a lot. Hopefully I'm going to get better at this. These guys have the craziest names in the world. Like Connor Hellebuyck's name was kind of hard for me to figure out because it has the 2 L's and the E, and then there's a Y in Buck. It's just spell the names easy, make it phonetically easy. Anyway, sorry. That's a tie right there. It's a trademark of the show that I go on, tangents. But anyway, and then what was I saying? Oh yeah, the standings. Yeah. So then, the wild card chase is kind of where Utah's gonna find themselves if they want to be in the playoffs this season. So again, that last wild card position is held by Calgary. I said it right there, 51 points, and then the Canucks behind them with 50, the Blues with 48, and then Utah right there 45. So if you look at this, these are the teams that when Utah plays against them, the teams that are between them and the wild card spot, they're huge games because they're a 2-point swing. They could widen or decrease the gap significantly. And hey, look at that. The Blues, the team right in front of Utah. Whoa, just as I said, that lines it up as a very important game if Utah wants to find itself in the postseason. So again, heading into the game on Saturday, knowing all that, and knowing that Sergachev was going to be out, and knowing that Dylan Guenther was out as well, I was like, gosh, this is really going to be tough for the clubbers, for the boys. They've been struggling at home. The homestand hasn't gone as well for them as I think a lot of us had hoped. over their last 10 games going into Saturday. I believe they were like 2-7-1. So a little bit of a slide. Again, like I said, hadn't had a good win since Christmas time. They were not keeping their New Year's resolutions in a lot of ways of staying healthy. You know, Quitter's Day was actually the second Friday of the new year, and I guess they gave up on being healthy at that point with Sergachev and Gunther both being injured. Anyway, so I was like, this is going to be a really, really tough one. And I was like, thank goodness our Nash cast is going to be very entertaining. But like, what was just as enthralling was the Utah Hockey Club's performance. And I caught highlights. I rewatched the game as well. It was a truly masterful, brilliant performance. A lot of like really interesting moments in this game. Like right off the jump, St. Louis scored first, and their goal was really interesting. It was like a really nice snipe off of a face-off by a defenseman, Tyler Tucker, I believe is his name. And the way that play kind of broke down was super interesting. I should have pulled up the replay here for you guys, but you'll have to go back and find it. And sometimes when I show the replay, I get kind of a little warning from YouTube. But it was super interesting. So they line up for a face-off, and Utah's in their own zone. So the Blues are attacking, and as the puck is dropped, Liam O'Brien, instead of going out to meet the defenseman, to meet Tyler Tucker to defend him, which is what he should be doing in that position, he drops his stick as if to suggest that they were going to fight. Like there had clearly been some kind of discussion between the two of them, like they were going to fight. And it ended up being like kind of like a Jedi mind trick by Tucker. He just takes the face-off win and just slings it into the net right behind Connor Ingram. And Spicy Tuna is kind of just left there standing there looking kind of dumb. It was like, oh my gosh, like that was nuts. But then right off the face-off, right after that, they decide to make it formal. They make it legit. They make it Facebook official, so to speak. They meet for a date, and they drop the gloves and do a little tangle there. And it was a great fight. It was like right by the Utah's bench. And man, I said this to Tyson. We were watching the game, Tyson Nash. I was like, man, Liam O'Brien with the blood running down his face. It kind of looks like Braveheart. Like it was like kind of like one of those really really kind of get after it moments. I wonder if that inspired Utah to go on the run they did, because they would go on to score a bunch of unanswered goals, take a lead, and ride that out to get a 4-2 victory. And so there's a story there with Liam O'Brien. That was kind of a great, interesting moment. It was a bad moment that turned into like an interesting moment, which might have been a momentum swing at a certain point. And that led to a really masterful, performance by Clayton Keller. And I'll tell you this, if you're into like daily, sports betting or like whatever, if you do like DraftKings or I don't know, there's like a million different kind of platforms like that. You should take the over on the points for Clayton Keller whenever he's playing against the St. Louis Blues, because he gets up for that team. Like historically, that's the team he plays best against. It's also the team that he made his NHL debut against back in the day when he was with the Arizona Coyotes, so the team that was the team before the Utah Hockey Club moved here. And it's interesting to note that he gets up for these games because he's a St. Louis boy himself. He's from Chesterfield, Missouri. And Tyson Nash kind of made note of this when we were on the broadcast. He was like, you just kind of get up for when you play against your hometown team. Tyson's an Edmonton guy, and he was just telling me throughout his career, whether it was with the Blues, which was where he broke into the league with, or the Arizona Coyotes or Phoenix Coyotes back in his day, whenever they played the Oilers, he was a little bit more revved up. And he remembers the goal he scored, and he didn't score a lot of goals, and he'll tell you that too. But a goal he scored against Edmonton in Edmonton was one of the highlights of his career. So there's just something about playing against your hometown team, the team you grew up cheering for, that like kind of brings the best out of you. And Clayton Keller is a really good example. That ended up being a career night for him on Saturday. And we'll just go through the box score right here. I mean, 1 goal, 3 assists, plus minus of 3. 2 block shots. The guy was all over the place. Interestingly, he played all 3 units. Just 2 seconds of shorthanded time, but it was a really, really masterful performance by Clayton Keller. And it was supplemented by another strong performance by the young gun, the guy everybody really needs to get excited about. He is right now proving to be the best player in his draft class. I'm talking about Mr. Freeze himself. Cool Daddy, Cool Hand Luke, Cool Hand Logan Cooley had 1 goal, 2 assists, again, plus minus a 3. So between the two of those guys, 7 points on the board for Utah in a 4-2 win. Really, really awesome stuff. And to do it without Sergachev, without Dylan Guenther is incredibly impressive. I think there were also just a lot of other really great moments in this game. And if you watch the highlights, they're easy to point out. Like Nick DeSimone, who is a recent pickup for the Utah Hockey Club. It was John Marino, I believe. John Marino, who came back from injury. And if I'm getting this mixed up, please forgive me. I'm just trying to go off memory. But it was one of the two. I'm pretty sure it was Marino. Did an incredible diving stop to prevent a goal by St. Louis at a really crucial moment in the third period. And Tyson and I were in the studio at that time. I think we were talking to Greg Ostertag at that time. And we could hear the big cheer from the crowd. And I heard the cheer, and we're on a little bit of a delay with our broadcast. And I was kind of just peering my head into the bowl, what I could see, to see the goal horn was going to go off, or they were going to celebrate a goal. It wasn't a goal. And then I saw the screen, and I saw this incredible diving save by John Marino in front of an empty net. I was like, holy cow, this guy cares. This guy wants to stop that puck from getting in the net. I'll tell you that, huh? He's willing to sacrifice his body. Great moment. This is a huge win for Utah over St. Louis. It felt like a playoff game. The boys knew it, and they played accordingly. And now I think they have a lot of confidence heading into what is quite possibly one of the biggest games of the year. That's not hyperbole. They're playing the Winnipeg Jets on Monday. Like I said, they've been having an unbelievable season. Their goaltender, Connor Hellebuyck, is probably going to be the Hart Trophy winner for the MVP award. That's something that doesn't happen very often, where a goalie wins the league MVP award. And Tyson and I had an argument about this on the air where I was like, I'm pretty sure the last one or one of the goaltenders to win the Hart Trophy award was Jose Theodore with the Montreal Canadiens. And Tyson's like, I don't think so. I went back and looked it up. I was right. Tyson, you owe me a milkshake, I think. I say that with so much love. But again, that's the kind of, it's a really rare, incredible season that Connor Hellebuyck is having. So it might, I don't know who's going to be starting a net for the Utah Hockey Club, if it'll be our own Connor Ingram or Karel Vejmelka, but that's going to be a crazy, crazy huge matchup. And it feels really good that the Utah Hockey Club is going to come into this game, coming on with a lot of confidence, a lot of get the monkey off their back. We've talked so much about how they haven't played as well at home as I think a lot of us were hoping. I mean, here's what's crazy. We've talked so much here in Utah. We pride ourselves on providing an incredible home court advantage for the Jazz and carrying that over into a home ice advantage for the Utah Hockey Club. We're into January, pretty comfortably into January, almost February. And between the two teams, just 10 wins at home now between the two teams. So Delta Center hasn't exactly been home sweet home for either one of them so far. And in the Jazz's case, it's because they're trying to be bad in a lot of ways this year. And the Utah Hockey Club's case, I think it's because the guys are just maybe a little too excited. Maybe there's a little bit of a loss in composure for them as well. So I think that kind of mounts a little bit when things aren't going well. You just feel like you're digging yourself into a bigger hole. And Clayton Keller says, "Listen, fellas, I got the ladder. Let's climb out of the hole. The ladder is me. It's me against St. Louis. I'll show you how we get it done." And I think that really helps them coming into, again, no hyperbole, a huge matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. I'm trying to visualize this and manifest it and put it into reality, and I'm suggesting you guys do the same. I don't know if you're into prayer or meditation or yoga or whatever it is. I think we need to, if you love the Utah Hockey Club, you want things to go well for them this season, summon some sort of cosmic energy to come into effect for Monday's game. Because if they win this, and that's what I'm manifesting is a win, it becomes a season-defining win in a way. And I think it could be a springboard into a very successful end of January, February. Then they take a break for the Four Nations Cup, and then March is kind of a big time because that's trade deadline time. again, this is the part of the season where we shift from the dog days to like the really interesting part where the race really heats up. So again, I think this a potential win against the Jets on Monday could be huge. I wish I had like some kind of funny bit to do to like bring this into reality. I wish I like had a ritual prepared. I don't really know that much about like pagan rituals though. So, you guys who have like girlfriends with crystals and stuff, like, talk to them about it. They'll figure it out. I should get some crystals. Maybe if they beat the Jets, we'll get crystals on the show. That's my promise to you guys. Okay. That's the investment I'm willing to make, but I need you guys to help buy stuff on slcpuck.shop, please. And if you guys have any takes as well, you probably see I have this thing in the corner here. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's the SLC Puck hotline. That number is 919-666-PUCK. And if you just type that on your keypad, it's 7825. So 919-666-7825. You can leave a voicemail there. You can leave a chirp, a compliment, just whatever you like. You can tell me about your life and your hopes and dreams. I may not play that on the show, but if you have a great take, I probably will, and I'll address it here. So go ahead and hop into that if you guys would like. And the engagement is what really makes it kind of fun. There was a lot of engagement in the Nash cast last night, and it was absolutely hysterical. Like, I'll just say this, like, Tuesday's show I thought was fun. The fact that the game was close at the end made it a little tense and tough on Tyson and I to do the kind of show we hope to have for you guys on a nightly basis, or when we do it. But Saturday's show was unbelievable. It was such a treat to have Kelly Chase in the building. If you don't know who he is, he was a longtime enforcer with the St. Louis Blues. He was in the building kind of to help us ring in Hockey Fights Cancer Night, and Kelly is in a battle with cancer right now. But in such incredible spirits too. He was such a gentleman, so kind, so funny, and I thought contributed a ton to the broadcast. Made some great observations. I felt like I learned a lot watching the game with him. But holy hell, like the stories that were going on were just like out of sight. Like, and again, if you don't have SEG Plus and you're like, oh, I missed out, oh, too bad. Well, guess what? It's been recorded. It's been DVR'd. It's right there for you guys to check out. It was an absolute riot. The stories between Kelly, Tyson, Chris Pronger, Jamie McClellan were a riot. Like super super funny. Very specific to that kind of era of hockey and the success they all had together as members of the St. Louis Blues, but like so funny, so fun to listen in and kind of feel like you're in the locker room with those guys. I would suggest though, and I think maybe a lot of people felt like this, that the real highlight of the show was when Major League Baseball legend Mark Grace, who he played for the Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks, won a World Series with Arizona in 2001. When he joined the show with the three of us, me, Tyson, and Kelly, and proceeded to tell like one of the most insane stories I've ever heard, like the story of him crapping his pants like while on base, and playing a game against the Philadelphia Phillies. It was absurd. Like every turn of the story just got funnier and funnier. Like it talked about how like I don't want to give it away, but it was absolutely hysterical. My stomach was like hurt. I thought I was going to go into convulsions, like just sitting there and listening to the story. And I was like a little stunned that they let it keep going, to tell you the truth. Cause it's a stream, right? We're not subject to like FCC stuff or whatever, but I was like, this is so absurd. This is like one of the it's gross is what it is. It's a very gross story, but also like as gross as it was, truly hysterical. And so I encourage you guys to go back and listen to that. Again, I don't want to give the whole story away. The way Mark Grace told the story was unbelievable, and I wouldn't be able to do it justice. And we were also joined by Greg Ostertag in the third period. Longtime Utah Jazz center, played for the team for 10 years. He loves hockey too, which is pretty amazing for a 7'2" guy who wears size 18 sneakers. So to listen to him about his love for hockey and to get some of his takes, I asked him which of his Jazz teammates would have made for the best hockey player. He said John Stockton, which makes a lot of sense to me. I also suggested to tag that Jerry Sloan would have been an excellent hockey player because he got that hard-nosed nature, and he completely agreed with me, so I felt smart about that observation. So that was like a really, really fun Nashcast, and we had Ryan Smith in the studio with us to join us, and we took a quick picture, the four of us, me, Tyson, Kelly, and Ryan. Ryan loves the Nashcast. He wants it to be successful, and I know Tyson Nash and Craig Amazine behind the scenes really wanted to be successful too, and I do as well. I put a lot of thought and effort into Nashcast, and I'm not like super great at it yet. I'm still kind of learning the ropes on how to be comfortable on live internet TV, but I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting better, making progress, and so again, the stars of the show though are like not me. I have the least important. I have the easiest job, which is great because I'm the least important person on the show by a very considerable margin. I'm just lucky that I get a front row seat to watch it, and I think you guys will really appreciate that. So, again, I would go ahead and tune that out. We'll have a couple more Nashcasts throughout the season, and that I'll announce those dates when I have them. Later in the season. So, again, just really happy. Go check it out. It's totally worth it. And I just want to end like on a note. I don't know why. I feel like I should say this. I feel like I've been like in a weird like spiritual mood lately, and just like it's kind of like really hitting me how lucky I am to be doing Nashcast, to be doing SLC Puck, to have like so much support from virtually everyone I know and pretty much everyone I've ever met. I've gotten like so many messages from former teammates of mine I played hockey with at Viewmont about 15 years ago. Some of these guys I played with like almost 20 years ago. I remember you when you were a freshman. I was a senior. It's cool to see you on Nashcast. I was like, it's crazy, isn't it? It's totally weird. And like I sit in the studio at Delta Center, and I have a really good view from my seat of the windows outside of the studio. And I should be counting, but like I think probably at least 5 times a game I'll see someone I know from the hockey orbit, maybe someone I played with, or maybe one of my teammates, one of my coworkers at my my real job, my full-time job will come by and like give me the finger or wave or just something, just something a little playful. And it just kind of like occurred to me like just how lucky I am to be doing this. It's kind of crazy, especially like when you consider like where this started. This is episode 75. Like I said, episode 1 was it was a fine start, I would say that, but like it's been so amazing to see how this has like impacted my life and everything about it. Pretty much, like that's not an exaggeration. And I'll have like a really big announcement for you guys in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. But it's been so fun to do this podcast. Me, my mom, my sister, and my nephew were at Chili's today in Centerville, and I was wearing my SLC Puck hat because I'm vain and I want to get the attention. My mom was wearing sweatshirt, all the stuff you can get at slcpuck.shop. My nephew is wearing the beanie, right? So we're geeked out in SLC Puck gear, and our server at Chili's was like, "Hey, I know you. My brother watches your show, and I just told him that I'm serving you." I'm like, "Holy cow! Well, tell him I said hi." Like that's cool. Like that. His name's Connor. Our server's name was Ben. He crushed it. He got me this awesome Coke Zero with blackberry syrup in it, which we can call the SLC Puck beverage. Maybe we should. It was very good. But anyway, like that was like such a crazy experience. Like every time I walk around the concourse at the arena, which I do because I'm a little bit of a nervous wreck before shows, I get so many people like want to say hi to me and tell me how much they like the show. And I feel like super lucky. And I'm sure to like a lot of people, like that's obvious that I'm like, that I got lucky. And like, I completely agree. And I think like, because I'm like so lucky, I think I have like an obligation to just like tell someone. I don't know who needs to hear this, but like, this experience that I'm having is like super cool. And like in it, like a deeper sense, like, it's something that I kind of like worked for a long time, and just again, like it just came together, right place, right time. It's just a part of my story, I think when I think about hockey and my dad and being in the media and being a fan of sports, like it weirdly just all comes together and aligns in such a weird cosmic way. And I think what I want to say, and I think I need to say this, is that I think that can happen for you. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what your thing is. I don't know what your version of SLC Puck is, but I don't think there's any reason why what is happening for me can't happen for you or for anybody else. And I think about that a lot because I listened to the speech that Jim Carrey gave a few years ago, and I listened to it a lot. And like his message is pretty succinct and pretty brilliant, pretty lovely. And he's like, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. And I think that I am a believer in that now, having done SLC Puck for 75 episodes and having seen like the crazy things that life has done for me. And so I don't know who needs to hear that, but like whatever your version of what I'm doing is, it will happen for you. So anyway, I don't think I said that as well as I wanted to. I didn't say it like with the same kind of punch that Jim Carrey did, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that's the show for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys, to SLC Puck. 75 episodes in the book, on the way to the Library of Congress, where it'll be held forever through the end of time, through the millennia. Don't forget to go to slcpuck.shop. Follow me on social media at SLC Puck. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much.